Huddled around the feeble warmth of a flickering campfire, survivors engaged in fervent debates about the elusive origins of a man named Teh OxO. "I heard he's a mechanic," asserted Rhodey Wolf, his words battling the howling winds that swept through the desolate wasteland. "A mechanic?" scoffed a shadowy figure from across the fire. "I heard in his former life he constructed mobile abodes that traverse the desolate landscape," Rhodey Wolf replied, his gaze fixed on the distant, ominous horizon. The shadowy figure emitted a chilling laugh. "What is so amusing?" inquired a survivor named Scrim. The campfire's occupants turned toward the shadowy figure, only to find him vanished like a specter in the post-apocalyptic night. "Where the hell did he go?" demanded a survivor named Pelly. An eerie silence fell across the campfire, punctuated only by the distant moans of mutated creatures echoing through the desolation. A survivor named Geezer walked toward the campfire and seated himself. Tey OxO. His name has resonated among many in these forsaken parts. Geezer grinned, his words seeming to stoke the flames which flickered and danced with an otherworldly intensity. The campfire's occupants turned toward Geezer expectantly, yearning for a glimpse into the mysterious tale he might unfold. This man had the air of a seasoned storyteller. What secrets did he hold? Would the narrative he spun be grounded in truth? Holding his grin, Geezer asked the campfire's occupants, "Do you wish to unravel the enigma of Tey OxO?" Geezer's gaze encompassed each person seated around the campfire, the assembly growing with every uttered word. At least 40 souls now encircled the feeble campfire, drawn by the mere mention of Tey OxO, in a world where shadows whispered of both peril and mystery. Geezer sighed and confessed, "I, too, yearn to unravel the mystery of Tey OxO." A collective gasp swept through the campfire, accompanied by hushed whispers. Did Geezer not know? Was Tey OxO but a figment of their collective imagination? Geezer silenced the crowd, asking, "Who among you claims to have been in the presence of Tey OxO? Who has lost someone to the mutants, attributing their demise to Tey OxO? Who proposes that Tey OxO commands the behemoth armored RV roaming the military bases? And who among you mentioned he was a mechanic? Who here accused me of being a fraud?" An angry glare from Geezer swept across the campfire. Turning his attention to the parking area of the Kumi trader, Geezer bellowed, "Grumpy, illuminate the night." Lights blazed, revealing a figure stepping out of a vehicle. Geezer turned back to the campfire, saying, "This morning, from my Mirander fortress, I beheld this sight. Behold, a Mitsubishi Lancer, its hood bearing a sign, 'The prize for your next event,' signed by Tey OxO." Silence fell once more, broken only by Grumpy's expletive-laden departure from the vehicle towards the campfire. He sat beside Geezer and handed him the keys, muttering further expletives. The campfire roared with laughter, reveling in the peculiar expressions of the apocalypse. Geezer addressed the campfire. "We all know Grumpy cherishes his van." Laughter reverberated as Geezer added, "The event will unfold come Christmas, a rare beacon of normalcy in a world reshaped by chaos. It was I who claimed to hear he was a mechanic. Does not the presence of such a supercar substantiate this?" shouted Rhodey Wolf. Geezer's countenance turned neutral. Many tales circulated, and now, where should he commence? "All of you are familiar with the tale of the fall of Green Mountain, correct?" inquired Geezer, noting the grimaces that confirmed their knowledge. Standing with a bottle in hand, Geezer declared, "Beside this car lay a bottle of whiskey, a libation I shall share with all of you this day." The bottle circulated, its amber contents a rare commodity in a world devoid of abundance. Grumpy declined, muttering about a decade of abstention. Geezer delved into his custom Archon backpack and produced another bottle. "Almost forgot, Grumpy," he said, passing him a bottle of Fentiman's Dandelion and Burdock with a post-it note that read, "For Grumpy, Tey OxO." Grumpy, unusually silent, accepted the bottle with an astonished expression. "How is this possible?" he whispered. Geezer turned back to the campfire and said, "Before I embark on this tale, let us raise our cups in a toast to Fred." The campfire roared. "To Fred?" Geezer settled back by the campfire. Fred was a good man, tall and a simple-minded fellow, yet he was taken that day at Green Mountain, and those who knew him know one thing. The mutants that appear to stand guard at the black market trading posts bear a resemblance to Fred. Whispers of the black market echoed around the fire. A survivor named Zero spoke up. "So, it's true that the black market maintains a trading post inside the contamination zone?" Geezer looked at Zero with a mournful expression. "Yes, Zero, the black market is a stark reality." Horror rippled through the campfire. Numerous survivors stood up and left, their excuses resonating with disbelief. "Fools," Geezer silently mouthed. Clearing his throat, he continued. "There are many rumors about Tey OxO. Who he is, whether he's a member of the black market or the architect of Archon clothing. All hearsay. I want to hear your tales. One by one, I want to hear what you know, what you think, what you believe to be true." The whiskey made a second round around the campfire, and survivors began sharing their stories. Rhodey Wolf began. "My car broke down outside Berezino. Clueless about cars, and with the nearest mechanic at Kronakastel, I found myself yearning for mechanical know-how. Suddenly, a voice emerged from the shadows. Need a hand with that." The man delved into his backpack, pulled out a battery, and replaced mine. "There you go," he said, then vanished. When I tried to thank him, he was gone. I had heard rumors of a mechanic named Tey OxO, and I believed that was him. "I heard Tey OxO is the leader of the black market," declared a survivor named Nomad. "I heard he's a scientist conducting experiments, turning people into mutants." Some of the survivors laughed around the campfire. Nomad persisted. "I heard he was there that day at Green Mountain, personally responsible for turning Fred into a monster." Vengeful Vodka retorted, "Ah yes, but you also claim the earth is flat, Nomad." More laughter bounced around the campfire like a Mexican wave. Nomad angrily shouted, "I never stated that the earth was flat. That is Chernarus whispers. It was a debate about the earth. The earth is an oblate spheroid, meaning it is mostly spherical in shape, but slightly flattened at the poles and bulging at the equator due to its rotation. This scientific consensus is supported by extensive evidence from various fields, such as satellite imagery, gravity measurements, and observations of the Earth's curvature during long-distance travel. The notion of a round Earth has been universally accepted for centuries, dispelling the once prevalent but erroneous belief in a flat Earth." The tales continued, and Geezer started to zone out, having heard all these before. Grumpy, however, was listening and taking mental notes as he was determined to find out more about the terrible things that were happening in Chernarus, how he could appease the black market while also fighting against them. In the early days of the apocalypse, whispers of a mysterious figure named Tey OxO circulated among survivors. Stories emerged of a helpful mechanic who roamed the desolate landscape, offering aid to those in need. Tey OxO was said to appear out of nowhere, fixing broken vehicles, providing food, and sharing essential supplies. Survivors spoke of gratitude for this elusive savior, whose kindness stood out amidst the chaos. In a remote camp, a survivor awoke to find a carefully wrapped package beside them. Upon unwrapping it, they discovered a powerful weapon, meticulously maintained and loaded with ammunition. A note inside read, "For the trials ahead, Tey OxO." Whispers of this mysterious benefactor spread, with survivors sharing stories of unexpected gifts that seemed to appear when they needed them most. A survivor shared a chilling tale of meeting Tey OxO around a campfire. As the survivor inquired about his origins, Tey OxO mysteriously vanished before their eyes, leaving the campfire occupants bewildered. Some believed Tey OxO had the power to move between dimensions, or that he was an apparition sent to guide them through the turmoil of the apocalypse. Legends spoke of Tey OxO not only as a mechanic and savior, but also as an architect of hidden fortifications. Whispers spread of survivors stumbling upon abandoned structures designed by Tey OxO, secret shelters stocked with supplies, awaiting those who possess the knowledge to find them. The architect's legacy lived on, with survivors seeking the hidden havens crafted by his skilled hands. Rumors circulated about a secret bunker designed by Tey OxO before the apocalypse. A haven accessible only through a mysterious keycard. The keycard was said to be a rare and elusive artifact, granting access to a sanctuary hidden from the dangers of the outside world. Survivors spoke of the keycard as a symbol of hope, a ticket to safety in a world overrun by chaos. As the tales of Tey OxO spread, so did stories of a darker nature. Some survivors claimed to have encountered him in the dead of night, where, with a mere gesture, he summoned grotesque monsters to materialize before their eyes. These nightmarish creatures, born from the depths of despair, haunted the survivors, leaving them to question whether Tey OxO was a savior or a harbinger of darkness. Some survivors told tales of encountering Tey OxO in the wilderness, where he demonstrated an eerie ability to control the mutated creatures that roamed the land. They spoke of witnessing monsters turning away from Tey OxO's path, as if under his command. The survivors questioned whether Tey OxO was orchestrating a delicate balance between good and evil, using the creatures as pawns in a post-apocalyptic chess game. Geezer, having listened to the multitude of tales surrounding Tey OxO, felt a growing impatience within him. The campfire crackled with the echoes of stories, and Geezer decided it was time to silence the speculative murmurs. Enough! Geezer's voice, weathered by the trials of the apocalypse, cut through the tales like a knife. The campfire fell into an uneasy silence, and all eyes turned towards the grizzled survivor. "Listen up, all of you!" Geezer declared, his gaze sweeping across the faces illuminated by the flickering flames. "I've heard these stories before, and I've had my fill. Tey OxO might be a mystery, but he's left us something to look forward to." Geezer pointed dramatically towards the illuminated Mitsubishi Lancer. "That supercar out there is the prize for our next event, and you ought to be thankful for the chance it brings." The campfire inhabitants shifted uncomfortably, the weight of Geezer's words settling upon them. "Stop all this squabbling and wondering," Geezer continued, his tone stern. "This event is our opportunity to win, to strive for something better in this desolate world. Be grateful and appreciate what he's given us." As Geezer spoke, Grumpy's mind whirred with conflicting thoughts. Tey OxO, a mysterious figure weaving tales of both benevolence and darkness, left Grumpy pondering the true nature of this enigmatic character. Was Tey OxO an ally, a beacon of hope in a grim world, or a cunning foe manipulating them all? While the question echoed in Grumpy's mind, The occupants of the campfire began to realize the lateness of the hour. One by one, they started to leave for the night, their figures disappearing into the darkness. Grumpy, left alone with the dwindling embers, couldn't shake the uncertainty that lingered in the air. In the heart of Chernarus, amidst the struggles against mutants and the looming dominance of the black market, the fate of the survivors remained uncertain. Only time would unveil whether Tey OxO's influence would be a bane or a blessing in the harsh landscape of post-apocalyptic survival.